So I've had a few people say they were interested in my 3x3 collection and what all that includes. So let's go through those real quick. Well, relatively real quick. We'll start. I'm gonna try to do the brands pretty much alphabetical, and there may be some odds and ends thrown in here and there, but we'll see how this goes. So we'll start with Diane. This is the Diane Tengyun V1. Really fun cube, really smooth. Probably one of the quietest cubes I own, and still a almost daily driver for me. Then I've got the Diane Zhanchi, which was actually my first speed cube, actual speed cube other than a Rubik's. And for a while I had it stickered with Shangshao Legend stickers that allowed it to be a 2-solution cube where I could solve the stickers or I could solve the plastic. Eventually I took those off and put on, let's see if I can get it in, here we go. Eventually I took those off and put on these 3-solution stickers. So as you can see, we've got the color written, we've got the color that the color of the word of the color, like this one is a white blue color, this one is a green orange. Then we have the flat color of the sticker, and then we also have the color of the plastic. So this is now a 4-solution cube. Still super fun to solve, and I love that classic Zhanchi feel. Move on to Fangxi, and I've got a white Fangxi. These are both the 54.5 millimeter. I initially thought this was going to be the black and primary one because of the pictures listed on CubesEZ. They sent me this and insisted that their web listing was correct, regardless of what the pictures and description showed, and it really wasn't worth sending back all the way to China at my expense. So I kept it and magnetized it. It's a fun puzzle. I liked it enough that I eventually found the black and primary one I was originally looking for. Also magnetized this one. I didn't replace the stickers. These are 50 millimeter Diane stickers, I believe. I need to do that with the black and primary one. I think it'd look really good, but I've yet to get around to that. So Fangxi Illusion and full white. Move on to GAN. My first GAN was a 356R. Eventually I magnetized this myself, and then recently I put on letter stickers to hopefully help me learn the lettering scheme for blind, and I really haven't gotten around to it, so it just kind of sits around with stickers on it. But my first GAN cube still has a special place. I ordered the 356X on Black Friday a few years ago. At the time it was the most money I'd spent on a cube, and I was really nervous that I wasn't going to like it, and ended up maining this for quite a while. I eventually moved down to yellow magnets and I think green springs just to kind of keep it loose. I've noticed that over time I'm more a fan of light magnets and springy turning, compressed springs, things like that. So I've adapted some of these to fit my turning style as it has changed over the years. I bought the GAN Vita last year, and this is probably my most expensive 3x3 at this point. But I absolutely love the lime green color of this. I'm running medium magnets, and I'm not sure what the springs are on at the moment. 2 for travel distance, and I don't know what I've got the compression on for a number of clicks. Love the green in this cube. It really, really pops. Recently I picked up the GAN 11 Mini. I was wanting to try the 11 Pro, but didn't want to shell out the full price for the full size, so I got the 53 millimeter. And it's okay. I'm not a fan of the super snappy magnets because they're way out on the corners. I have it on lightest tensions, and I'm pretty sure the spring compression is turned up a good bit to keep that stability and spring feel. But then I've got the magnets on the lowest, and it's still a really snappy cube. I'm not sure that I'm totally a fan yet. It's nice, but I don't know that I would use it for timed solves. Bit of a fidget puzzle I got from Amazon a couple years back. I think it's pronounced Ganowo. I'm probably butchering that. Feels about like a Chi Warrior, and looks pretty much like it as well, with the pastel blue and the weird off red, pink red. So yeah, it looks and feels like a Chi Warrior, but on the white and yellow side you've got a little spinner built in. My first smart cube was the Geiker. This is the Supercube i3. It originally had the super pastel colors that everybody hated, and was super loud when it turned. So the first thing I did is glue down those internal magnets. I replaced all the stickers with a standard scheme initially when I was using it for time solves with the app. Eventually, the cube just stopped syncing with the app. It won't detect turns. It doesn't matter how slowly or carefully I turn, it does not sync properly with the app. So I stopped using it as a smart cube and eventually restickered it with gray, replacing yellow, and I replaced the green with this mint, and then I went with a really dark blue. I really like the scheme. It kind of pops the orange and white pop, and everything else stays kind of muted. I really like that. And the headphone charger it came with is always fun to display with the little headphones on it. The next smart cube I got was the GoCube. Really fun cube to use. The app is really well done. The battles are really well done. It's got a decent feel to it, but the shape is just awful. I don't know who told Geiker it would be cool to round, or GoCube. I don't know who told them it would be cool to round out all these edges and corners, but it makes for very sloppy finger tricks, and is just, for speed solving, it is not fun. For battling others at a moderate pace via their app, it's a ton of fun. Gotten some comments recently on the Kung Fu. Has come up in a couple daily discussion threads. I really like the color of this, the mint pastel green. I'm not a fan of the tiles. I don't mind the fact that they're round, but they are recessed, and so there's a gap all the way around that. And when I'm turning, my nails catch on those tiles, and it is not comfortable. The turning is really smooth, a little bit blocky, but very, very smooth after break-in. I'm just not a fan of those circular tiles and the gap that they leave between them and the plastic. That brings us down to Moyu. Let's see, let's start with, I'm pretty sure this was one of my first Moyu cubes, was the 40mm keychain cube. I initially bought it to be a car cube, just to kind of have something in the car all the time, be able to fidget with at traffic stops, that kind of stuff. In the Florida sun, though, I was really afraid that it was going to start getting really hot in the summer and warping the plastic, so I ended up just leaving it inside. I don't have a car cube at all, a dedicated one at least, but I do bring certain cubes with me out and about. This one just chills at home now, though. I have a stickerless Meilong. This was right after the Meilong first came out. I got this one, and I got a few others for sandwich cubes, and I'll get into those in a moment. This one I self-magnetized with N42, no, N35 3x2 instead of 4x2. And the light magnets combined with the lightweight of the cube really give it a nice lightweight, light turning feel. Really like this one. I use this one a whole bunch. Speaking of Maylong sandwiches, these are 2 of the sandwiches that I made with the other 6 I had. These are the only 2 I have left. I gave several of them away to various people over the last year and a half or so. Fun solve, super easy solve, and the Maylong by itself is just a great feeling cube. So these are not magnetized, but still a really great cube, especially when dry. Actually, I think I like the Maylong dry better than I do set up and lubed. The RS3M, the original, it was still the MF3 RS3M. This was when they first started shortening the name to the RS3M, and I grabbed this one. Light magnets, super nice turning, super rounded on the corners and edges, kind of gives it a bubbly feel. I really wish they would go back to this rather than the sharp edges and sharp corners. Even if they use the newer shades and newer plastic types, frosted, matte, whatever you want to call it, I really like this bubbly, rounded feel. The RS3M 2020 with the spring compression, it's okay. It's a lot slower than I had hoped it would be. Even after setup, cleaning, I cleaned this one just a few days ago when I got my WRM maglev, because I wanted to kind of compare this as the closest thing I had to it. Still a super slow cube. The shades, the updated shades are nicer over the previous RS3M, but I don't know. I think if I'm going to go with an RS3, I really like the original RS3M better than the 2020 version. The WRM maglev. I really didn't care about the maglev too much. I have another cube that I did that mod to many years ago. I really got this for the purple internal, kind of like a lot of people did. The maglev, the only thing I think it really alleviates is spring noise. There's no spring noise. It's a fairly quiet cube, especially when lubed and set up. It was dry out of the box. I enjoy the turning. I'm enjoying it more and more as I use it more. I've got the magnets turned to 2, which is slightly weaker. I believe 1 is the strongest and 5 was the weakest. So I've tuned the magnets down a little bit, and I think I'm up on 4 or 5 clicks for compression. Really liking this one. Really nice cube, and those purple internals, man, when they pop during mid-turn, it's really nice. So that brings us to all of my force cubes, which happen to also be MoYu. All of these are stickered the same, but we'll do them in chunks. These are the macaroon force cubes. They're the pastel colored ones, yellow, white, pink for red, white, yellow, orange, blue, and green. Again, unmagnetized, no lube, just tensioned enough to be fluid and nice to solve. Really nice cubes. I really love the look of these with kind of the classic shades with the non full bright yellows, green, red, blues. Really nice cubes. And I think like I said, the classic colors I think really set well with the pastel shades. The Maylong 3C, which I have 5 of these. I don't have the white one stickered as a standard cube. Again, these are not magnetic cubes, just tensioned to be nice and fluid for my turning style when I solve. And then still the classic shades on these I think worked really well. And then the last of these is the magnetic set. Still unlubed. I really like these without lube, just dry and tensioned. The magnets do a great job of kind of clicking into place. They're not too strong, they're not too weak. If you're going to get a magnetic budget cube, the Meilong is probably my absolute favorite, just in terms of the feel whenever you're solving it. Even after a ton of solves on these, they still remain really papery because they're dry, and I don't have any plans to lube or set these up. These 5 are unlubed and not set up at all. The white one I ended up giving away because after making 3 sets of force cubes with Meilongs, I had 3 whites. You saw that I kept the macaroon one. I got rid of the magnetic white one and gave that to a friend. The black one I bought and lubed and set this one up, and I honestly like it less than the unlubed ones. If I'm going to do a Meilong M, I want it to be unlubed and just tensioned. Really great cubes. The last Meilong I have, I restickered into a Molecube, or Molecube, however you want to say it. I'm still not proficient at solving this. It is not magnetic. This is one of the 3C versions. This is the white one from that set. I just really always wanted a Molecube, and this kind of fit the bill. I had a leftover white one, wasn't sure what to do with it, and so I ordered some stickers for it, and I really like the way this turned out. The last set of force cubes are also Moyu. They are Cubing Classroom 50mm, and these have the monochromatic shades, so they're all shades of the color plastic they're on. 3 of these are non-magnetic. The yellow, orange, and red are not magnetic cubes. And then I magnetized the green, blue, and white ones. I really like all of these. I don't really think I have a preference on magnetic versus non-magnetic. These are small enough that I can be fairly accurate with turning, and I'm not worried about lockups. I also cannot speed solve quite a few of them because the shades are so close. Really like these. These are probably my favorite aesthetic looking cubes in the collection. That brings us all the way out of Moyu and into Rubik's, of which I've got my original Rubik's Cube from roughly 2006 or 2007 at this point. Stickers. This is a design that does not tension. It does not come apart unless you really force it. As an old one, as you can see, the stickers are really faded. Now, this is what I did my very first solves on. It's what I learned on and used for a good while before I got my Sanchi. And this still has a special place for me, so I keep it around. The world's smallest cube is one by Rubik's. It is not actually the smallest functioning 3x3, but I believe it is definitely the smallest official Rubik's brand. This actually turns better than the original one from 2007. It's still a pain to solve just because of its size. I can't finger trick it, and after a good solve or so, my fingers hurt, my hands cramp up from trying to grip it. So I don't solve it often, but it is a functioning Rubik's Cube, and I think the smallest 3x3 in my collection. I saw this on a trip to Disney World, and I'm a big Disney nerd, so I really couldn't pass it up. I saw it once and thought about it and passed it up because it's $20 and I could, buy it online or whatever cheaper. Turns out that buying it online, at least brand new where I was looking at the time, was the same price. So the next time I went to Disney, I bought it. This, if you can believe it, turns worse, I think, than my original 2007 Rubik's Cube, so I have never fully scrambled this. I don't intend to fully scramble this. It's just a collection piece that kind of ties my Disney love with my love of puzzles. And we've got, real quick, Mickey, Donald, looks like Chip and Dale, Goofy, Minnie, and Pluto. The Rubik's Tactile. I got this one last year during the coronavirus lockdowns that we had. And this actually turns really well. I think it's the best turning Rubik's Cube I have, official brand at least. And is really fun to solve with just feel. So I'll scramble it and put it down, and then I'll close my eyes, take my glasses off so I really can't see anything, and pick it up, start the timer, pick it up, and do inspection and solve all in one, and I can get it in about a minute 30. Not a speed solve, but I don't plan on trying to get too much faster just by feel. The Rubik's Impossible. This one was one I'd seen the lenticular stickers from Oliver's and possibly even Chewy's at one point, and always wanted to get some. I still want to get the hide and seek ones that go from color to black instead of an alternate color. I want to get those and put them on a cube. Don't know what cube I would do that yet. And now that Oliver's is gone, I don't know if I can even get them anymore. This one is a lot of fun to solve. Really makes you think. You kind of have to, okay, this is my cross, and you have to set a piece and just wait until another piece proves one of those wrong. So you're always going back and fixing things and swapping out pieces to see if that works. This is the solved state out of the box. And there's an alternate solved state, but I cannot solve into that one. I've only been able to get it into that configuration via algorithms from this state. That's all the Rubik's. That brings us to ShengShou. And my first ShengShou puzzle was a legend that I specifically took the stickers off to bank into a calendar cube. Those stickers went onto my Zhanchi for a while to make it a 2 solution, and this is a calendar cube that I update every day I can remember to, but it's not always daily. It's fun to put on a desk kind of as a daily fidget toy when you're updating the date. My illusion cubes. These are ShengShou Fangyuans, not the V2. The caps on these were a pain in the ass to get off, but well worth it. I bought a white, a pink, and a blue, and then I switched all of the internals so that those are illusion cubes. And then eventually I magnetized this one. Because of the way the corners and edges are put together, this is not one that you can magnetize edge to corner, and I may have accidentally glued the centers on because of the way I had to do it. I had to do center to edge magnetizing. Still a really nice puzzle. I actually really like the center edge magnets. Gives it a slightly different feel. Not much of a different strength, just a little bit of a different feel. The weight feels a little more centered on the puzzle. And then I eventually also restickered the pink one to be an all pink or purple cube. This is probably my daughter's favorite cube, and I don't complain. I really, really enjoy the look of this one. I tend to break it out around Valentine's Day. Still more ShengShou. We've got some legends. The original 56mm legend. Not a great cube. Pretty smooth, a little blocky. fun for casual solves, but I really have it because of the others. This is the Big Legend, and this one is 7 centimeters. It's nice to have a larger cube to solve on occasionally. And between this and a few of my other big ones, I really think I like this one the best. It handles the best in my opinion. And I just like a large, black, classic looking cube to have. This one is the Legend S. And it's got hollow edges. They're hollow on both sides. It was an interesting design choice when it came out, and I got it specifically because, for 2 reasons really. I wanted it to fit with the rest of my Legend set, but also I was curious as to how that hollow edge would play out. And really it plays out about as well as you can imagine. The pieces catch on each other fairly often. Lube does absolutely nothing to the puzzle. And it's overall just a disaster to try and speed solve on. I still am really happy to see that ShengShou kind of branched out and did something way out of the ordinary that nobody else was doing. And even if it failed miserably, it's nice to see people taking a shot at something new, just in hopes that maybe they'll, maybe they'll stumble upon something that will work well. Unfortunately for ShengShou, it didn't work well at all. Qi. My first Qi cube was a sail. I'm sorry, it was a warrior. And I ended up getting rid of that at some point over the years and moved on to collecting sails, of which I have quite a few. The original sail, 56 millimeter, kind of a classic. It's got the capped pieces and the edges have that weird door that comes off rather than being split anywhere. I haven't magnetized any of these. I just like to keep them because honestly it's really cool to have so many different puzzles, maybe the transparent and the sail W aside, but 3 different sizes of puzzle, 56 millimeter, 60 millimeter, and 68 millimeter, that all feel almost identical. They're not, larger versions with piece redesigns or anything. They are just scaled up and down of the exact same thing. And I really like the fact that regardless of size, they all feel pretty much identical. The transparent version of the 60 millimeter I got because I had already had a transparent puzzle and really liked it. This one I don't like as much. The plastic is harder in order to keep the transparency really, really clear. The plastic is hard. Tensioning means that I've got to keep it pretty tight because that hard plastic is so smooth against itself. I didn't bother to really set it up or lube it, but I really liked the look of this one whenever I saw it online and kind of had to have it to complete my sail collection. The Sail W, which came out a couple years ago, is the most recent of them that I know of. It has the octagon stickers in the centers, which not everybody is a fan of. I don't mind it too much. I really like the feel of this one. It still has the classic sail feel, but is a lot smoother. It corner cuts a bit better. It's a lot more fluid. I don't feel like it's catching as much, not quite as blocky. A really nice cube after setup. I might end up with one magnetized if I can still find one, just to see what that would look like, because I don't want to lose the feeling of the stock one. More Qi. The Voc Power M. This one is a pretty controversial cube. A lot of people love it. A lot of people absolutely hate it. There don't seem to be many people that are in between on it. I actually got this one in a trade with somebody through a Facebook group. I can't even remember what it was. I want to say maybe a MS3 RS2, I think. No, it was a GTS2M. GTS2 light magnet from the Cubicle. I got as a mystery puzzle. Didn't like the GTS2M. Was not a fan of it. Never could really get it tensioned or set up right for my liking. So I put it up for trade on a group, and somebody swapped me for the Vaulk Power. This one is one of the cubes I'm more proud of. When it got to me, it was an absolute disaster. It had about 4 different size magnets in it because it had been magnetized at home by somebody who didn't know what they were doing. It's got a broken corner that I managed to super glue and is breaking again, I believe. I may have to just get a replacement corner for it. It took me a long time to clean out, to remove the previously installed magnets, get all the new ones set up. And I really, really like this cube. I used it daily for a very long time, and it's still a really nice tactile feeling cube. I really like this one. The Thunderclap V3M I've referred to as kind of an upgraded Vaulk Power. This one is more tactile than the other one was. Better turning, lighter turning, not quite as slow. Very, very tactile feeling. I still think I prefer the Vaulk Power over this, but it's a really close race between the two of them. Really good cube. I'm not a huge fan of that dark, very fluorescent looking orange compared to some of the others. I even replaced the orange on my Vaulk with more of a pastel, lighter orange, and I really like this better than that one. But personal preference, both really good cubes. The Qi DNA cube. There was a flat version like this, and then there was a concave version. Honestly, I probably should have gotten the concave version, but I just didn't think it would finger trick very well. And I'm probably right, though it would probably look more unique in the collection than just a square with these tiles. But the tiles are nice. It's a decent cube. I wouldn't ever use it for speed cubing or anything, but it looks pretty cool, especially if you set it up in some patterns. The largest 3x3 I have is the Chi Ming, I want to say. I'm probably butchering that as well. 9 centimeter. The big legend I've got was 7 centimeters. The big sail is 6.8, and this one is 9. And it is just a monster of a cube. I get lost in finger tricks, especially on PLL, because I can't hold it and feel it the way I would a normal 3x3. But it's still a fun cube to have. It's really good for teaching purposes as well. If you're teaching somebody, it's very easy for them to see what's happening at a slow rate and follow along with their own cube. Technically, these are branded under X-Man, but they're still Qi Mofeng Jiaozi cubes, and so I'm including them in the Qi lineup. The Tornado V2M. This is probably my favorite feeling cube to date. I see a lot of people bitching about and complaining about the reverse corner cutting. It doesn't corner cut any worse than any of my other cubes, really. I think the only one that I've found recently that corner cuts better is the 356X in reverse on the tensions that I feel are comfortable. But nothing feels this plush in my collection or this smooth. Really, really, really love this cube. And then whenever they released the Infinity Stone versions, I knew I had to get one. I wanted the green, and luck was on my side that day and got the green one right out of the box. Didn't have to worry about trading. or buying multiples to try and get it. And this one feels identical to the stickerless one. Both probably my favorite cubes my favorite feeling cubes in the collection so far. That takes us out of the cheese and into YJ. Let's see, I've got the Yulong V2M. I bought this one a couple years ago when the the U series came out. Initially, I was going to get all of the U's up to, I think they go up to at least 5, maybe even 6 or 7, I can't remember. I was going to get all of those, but I did not follow through. This one just kind of fell from my graces after a short while. Just not a big fan of it. I've cleaned it a ton of times. I've reset it up different ways with different settings and different... I think at one point I even added extra magnets to see if that would help. I think I saw that being touted as a improvement for it. Never really liked it. It's definitely a cube that I will easily throw in a bag and take with me, because I'm not terribly worried if something happens to it. I can either replace it pretty cheap, or if it's out of stock everywhere at that time, I'm not missing out on a whole lot. The MGC V1. When I got this right after it first came out, I pre-ordered it because at the time it was the absolute quietest cube you could find, to the point that people were shocked that you could make a cube perform at this level at the time and still be so manageable in terms of noise. Now it is definitely not the quietest cube. It's not the loudest one either, though. But still has a nice place in my heart because it was one of my first real cubes. I had the Zhanchi. I got a Little Magic at some point, and then I ordered this. I think this was my first factory magnetized cube, and was just blown away at the time by the difference between that and my existing collection. Still a nice cube to solve. I like the semi-translucent primary internals on it as well. The Guanlong Plus. I got this as a kind of a mystery box. At one point, I think the Cubicle, I want to say it was a Cubicle, was doing a special where you could buy used cubes for $1 or so. They would send you a random previously used cube, and this is what I got. It's not great. Doesn't corner cut really. It's a garbage feeling cube, but I don't know. I keep it because I don't typically get rid of too many 3x3s, as you've noticed, but also, I don't know, it's unique in that it is probably the worst black stickerless cube, or stickered cube I own, other than, say, my original Rubik's. I don't know. Not a great cube. I wouldn't recommend it. If you got it for free, I don't even know if I'd recommend it. But I hang on to it because I don't like getting rid of things. On to Yushin. My Yushin Little Magic. This was my first DIY magnetized cube. And it is also a cube that I put the Maglev mod tensioning into several years ago when that was first being experimented with on forums and Reddit. The magnets that I put in here were N42 4x2. Really strong for how thin this plastic is. This is a really, really snappy cube. And then the Maglev means that there is almost no friction in the centers for turning. Very fast, very snappy. Not a great cube, at least in terms of my preference for lighter magnets nowadays. And the tensioning, because the maglev was experimental and kind of DIY. The tensioning is very, very loose. I can just take a whole side out. I never really could get it tensioned the way I wanted to keep using it as a speed cube. But it sits on my shelf as one of my first Frankenstein experiment cubes. And I love it just for that. The Yushin Treasure Box I got specifically for, oops, this side, the opening box feature. I don't keep anything in it, but I thought it was really cool to be able to open it up and put a dollar or so in there if I wanted. There we go. Doesn't turn great. I've seen that people can set it up and have lubed it and got it kind of nice feeling for them. I have no intention on setting it up. It's just nice to be able to pop the top off and display it that way sometimes. Fun fact is that you don't have to solve the entire cube. You only have to solve the white face for it to open. Yeah. And then the Kylan V2M was my first transparent puzzle, and it was also my first tiled puzzle. And unlike the Kung Fu Dot Cube, this one is fantastic in terms of tiles. They're flush with the plastic. There's no gap for your fingernails or anything to get caught in. It feels to the touch like a stickerless cube, but then still looks like a stickered cube. And I really like the transparency on this one. This was probably the smoothest puzzle I owned for a very, very long time. A real pleasure to solve. And I forgot a couple of my mini Chi cubes. I got their Chi bread 3 centimeter, which I'm guessing they kind of called it because of the pillow shape. Maybe it's like a small loaf of bread or something. I don't know. Not a real fun puzzle to solve. I don't like the pillowed shape. I don't like the small size of the cubes. But kind of a novelty item to be able to throw on a backpack or something as I'm going somewhere and just keep with me. And then the 3 centimeter cubic one, I got this one from Z-Cube. I think it was a 10 cents or so to throw in a bag at some point, and so I did. Actually turns better than the bread one, but still the small size makes it pretty difficult for me to solve over long periods of time. So I just keep it around as a little novelty item to sit on a shelf. And then last but not least, I have a few of my Speed Cube Shop specialty cubes that they've done over the years. I have the 2019 Spooky Cube, which was a Yushin Fire, I believe. Not a big fan of the feel of the cube, but at the time I really loved the look of the glow-in-the-dark skull face. And so I got it and kind of set it up just as a display piece with the skull facing out. Not a great turning cube. I've seen people that really enjoy it. I think a couple people have even magnetized one. Not a big fan of the turning overall, but it was my first Speed Cube Shop specialty cube, and I really enjoyed that. The Holiday Cube, I believe this was also from 2019. This one is a Chi Sail, I believe, with a softer red plastic. The sticker shade is the scheme is okay with the mirrored silver and the gold. Doesn't really bother. It's Christmas themed enough. I don't speed solve it, but it is definitely nice to throw up on a shelf or on my desk during the holiday season. You know, just to kind of have something Christmas themed. And I'll go ahead and leave that one on the desk for now, since we are indeed in the holiday season. In 2020, they did the Spring Cube, is what they called it, right around Easter time, with pastel, very Easter-like colors. At the time, we had just gone into lockdown mode here in Florida in the US, and so I jokingly called this my quarantine cube, since I bought it right as all that was happening. I think this one is based on a Guanlong 3, I want to say. It might just be a standard Guanlong, I don't know. I really like the turning of this one. It's smooth, fluid, catches initially, occasionally on some turns, but that's because I'm sloppy with my turning, and I know it's something I should get better at, but for casual solving and hand scrambling, I typically tend not to care, which is a bad habit. This year, I got the Holiday Cube, which SES was calling the Frozen Cube. All shades of blue except for the silver and the white snowflake. And on this version, unlike the Spooky Cube I have from 2019, the stickers don't glow, but the cube itself glows blue. And that was a really cool touch. And I got it specifically because the plastic glowed rather than the stickers. And it was actually pleasantly surprised with how it turned. I don't know what cube this is based off of. If anyone knows, definitely leave me a comment or a reply and let me know what this is based off. I'd love to know, because I'd love to try and track down a standard version if they are still available. Really nice feeling cube. I'd love to see what one of these magnetized feels like. But I got this, was really happy with it, and kind of regretted not getting the 2020 Spooky Cube, or 2021 Spooky Cube, since they are the same cube, just different color and different stickers. And luckily I was able to reach out to Speed Cube Shop and find out that they still had them in stock. So I was able to grab that. Same cube, same great feel, different color, different glow color for the plastic. This one glows green, this one glows blue. So I was really glad I was able to have the Halloween and the Christmas themed cubes this year. And again, if anybody knows the model that these are based off of, I want to know, because I want to see if I can find one in either a solid black or white or a stickerless, if they even were made. I feel like it's an older cube just based on feel, but I'd love to get one or two of the actual cube this is based on. And that is all of my standard 3x3s. I've got 69 or so standard stickered 3x3s that I could use in competition if I wanted, if we count the sticker mods like the sticker or plastic mods like the sandwich cubes or the Mala cube, stuff like that, or even the SES stickered ones. I've probably got 75, 76 3x3s, and I rotate through most of them throughout the course of 2 or 3 weeks. I'll randomly just come and pick one up and use it. It's nice to be able to do a 3x3 solve, but have it feel new compared to what I've been doing recently. So if I use the Thunderclap a lot, or if I use the Tornado a lot for a week or so, or even several days, I'll go back and change them out for something new occasionally, just to get a new feel and kind of rediscover older gems that I've got that I don't use quite as often as some of the newer ones. So yeah, definitely let me know what you think. If you got questions about any of them, I'll be happy to try and answer them. So yeah, until the next video, whatever that may be, keep solving.